As people in tech, we get a buzzword, we just hold to it. And we just start talking about it and just speaking about it. And at some point, sometimes it makes no sense. Right? But that's what we do. We just like buzzwords. Artificial intelligence. AI, pretty much. Before we talk about AI, I want to break it down. There's AI and there's machine learning. Right? So, machine learning is a subset of AI. And I'm going to explain a bit. So, AI is a computer with the ability to reason as humans. When you all play NBA 2K or Madden, we all say you're playing against a computer. Really, you're playing against AI, right? Because the computer's playing like a human being. When you move right, the computer has been taught to follow your movement and move right as well. So now it feels like you're playing a human being, but you're playing really a machine, right? So, what are examples of AI? Amazon. Amazon leverages AI the best way possible to make more money. Why is that? You buy something on Amazon, right? Let's say, for instance, I just got married. Let's say my wife and I are expecting a baby. So we have an account with Amazon, right? So we buy, let's say, a crib. Amazon has our profile. These 20-year-olds, they're married, okay. Now they see that, okay. They see that we had a wedding because my wife bought a lot of stuff from Amazon. Yep, my credit card, limit, yeah. She bought a lot of stuff on Amazon. So now Amazon, behind the scenes, they have this data, they're collecting all this data, right? So they put all this data together. They're like, okay, we see Mary buying stuff. We see Joe buying stuff. Okay, now it's making sense. Okay, they're about to have a wedding. Now Amazon starts suggesting things to us. Oh, after you bought something in the cart, guess what? Other people also bought X, Y, and Z. You sit and ask yourself, wait. How do they know maybe I need this? My wife is the kind of person she would see like, oh yeah, we need that too. I'm the person in tech, I'm like, no, they're just trying to sell you something, we don't need that. And that's how the argument starts. So, and it's actually very good, right? Because now the AI system is thinking for you. Now it's smart, we can say it's smart, right? Some computers are not really so smart, but this has been programmed to be smart. So it's like, they bought this, I can put two and two together, now they need this. So let's say we're about to have a baby, we buy a crib. Now it's going to say, oh, you guys need a feeder model. And Amazon uses this to make more money. And it's fair, because now they're trying to predict your buying habits, your age, everything about you, to say you need this. Let's say you're a soccer mom, your kids are into sports. So you go and you buy a van, right? But you go online, you're like, okay, I need something for my van. You start searching. Now they start to guess, oh wait, they need a soccer goal. Now they would say, people who also bought this, bought a soccer goal. And you can be like, yes, let me get a soccer goal. Click. People who bought a soccer goal bought a soccer ball pump, right? And this is all for Amazon to make money. So now, let's go a little bit deeper. Like I said, machine learning is a subset of AI. Machine learning is similar, right? Pretty much it's just turning data into software. Now, you all can leave this place and be geniuses, because Amazon, Google, all the high-tech companies, when they hire people, they hire people who can understand these concepts, right? And not everybody in tech is actually in really technology, so not everyone understands this. So as you move on, whatever you're trying to do, there are ways you can understand this, even whatever field you're in, right? And I'll tell you a story later. Whatever field you're in, you can actually apply these things and actually look smarter in interviews and actually be ahead of the curve. So this is what today's computer is all about, right? This is where today, this is where we're going. Now, why do I say this? So look at this diagram really well. You have a computer, you have data going to the computer, you have a program, and you have an output. Perfect example, I don't really get into development, so let me break it down into, let's say you have a computer, you have an Excel program, a software program, installed on a computer, or you install on a computer, you put in data. Let's say you're trying to identify the median of a football team. So you manually grab that data. Okay, this team has this, blah, 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 the age, whatever, right? So you put all that in here, and now the computer does magic and calculates the output. So Excel will give you this nice graph. The median age for the Redskins is 29, right? The median for the Cowboys is, I'm a Redskins fan, I hate the Cowboys. The median for the Cowboys, let's say they're a little bit old, 40, right? So that's what it does. But machine learning is different. So this is where we're going, right? Remember, this is what we're doing now, right? But machine learning is tricky. This is what it does. So now you have a computer, right? You have your data. The data is always constant. What changes is now you have your output and you have your program. What do I mean by this? So this is actually machine learning. You use a computer with data and output to create a program. Now the program is what is now doing all this work into artificial intelligence, right? What do I mean by this? So let's say still you have a computer. You have your data. You already get, like we talked about the NFL stuff, right? Now you have your output. So let's say your output is now, you are now guessing, telling the computer what to do. The machine is learning your habits, right? And once you do that, you create a software which can now try to predict. So let's say the Cowboys start drafting people, right? So you put in data every year for the next 2 years. You put in place you're drafting. You figure out their age. You say, okay, well, this year they're drafting based on how they finished. Last year they finished 5-5, so they're drafting young talent, right? So anytime, now you're teaching the computer what to do. Now the computer uses this, instead of creating the output, you already have the output, you already have a guess. If they have a younger team, they win more games. So the computer now calculates and create a program for you. And that's what companies are doing. With that program, they can predict your habits, what you're doing, and what you're gonna do later on. For instance, insurance, companies are doing this a lot. Now, they have these devices they put in your car, tracks your, let's say your driving habits, how fast you've been going, you know, and guess what they're doing? They're using to actually give you a code. Insurance companies make money, not by giving you a lot when you get in an accident. They make money by saving a lot of money, right? So if let's say I'm a bad driver, horrible driver, now they can say, based on your driving habits, based on this data we have, we've calculated this, and we can see that chances are you're susceptible to get in an accident in the future. So based on that, this is what we're gonna give you. We talked about the mortgage, right? Perfect example. They see your spending habits, they see how you're using the credit cards, they see how you're maxing it out, and now it calculates that based on these habits, we figure it out maybe Joe or John is gonna be at risk. So maybe we should not give this person this mortgage. It's all machine learning. But now, companies are now realizing this and taking it to the next level. Mortgage industry is doing this, healthcare industry is doing this, even technology, we are doing it as well. Another great example, now I'm gonna go back to cloud computing. So I'm gonna get in trouble when I get home. Usually I work from home when I'm not in this office. So I saw that my wife went out to the backyard and got trash and put it in front because today's trash pickup day for us. And that's when I'm gonna get in trouble because it's my job. But apparently someone forgot when they were leaving the house. So what happened was we have a security camera. It picked up, you know, a quick video, and now it's sent it to the cloud. Now we have cloud computing, right? And it's sent it to my phone. It's like, oh, there's someone at your back door. I saw the video, it notified me, right? That's cloud computing. Getting that data, pushing into the cloud, and pushing into the device, right? So now that's cloud computing. Now, what if I re-engineer this whole thing? Actually, this is a project I was planning to do. On Halloween, guess what happened? You have kids knocking on the door, right? I am very lazy. I don't want to get up every single minute to give candies to kids. I love kids, but I don't want to do that. I get in trouble for this all the time as well. My friend, stop being lazy, just get up. Like, no, I don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, how do I do this? How do I create something? I already have a security camera in front of my house, right? What if I hack that system? I create something whereby kids want candy, they ring the doorbell, so I connect everything through the cloud to IoT. They ring the doorbell, I have this dispenser, now the dispenser pushes out candy. Mom, this is what my wife said. Baby, you're smart, but this is stupid. And that's what she said. She's like, people already do this manually. You just put a basket of candy in front of their door. I'm like, no, you're not getting me. I don't want one kid, one greedy kid coming and taking all the candy. I want every kid to get a fair share. So how about we create that? Now, our little camera is not only gonna be just focused on the cloud, now it's gonna be smart, right? Because now what is gonna happen is that, so let's say a kid is on the door, my Arlo notifies me, right? Now instead of just coming straight to me and saying there's a kid at the door, okay, fine, we can go to sewage. If he comes to me, I create an app, I push the app is connected to a dispenser in front of my door, right? And now it pushes out candy. Once I see a kid there, I hit go, right? I hit go, it goes to the cloud, it commands through transistors, there's a lot of stuff I'm planning. Do a lot of stuff, and now it pushes the candy for the kid. Now the kid gets, I can say, okay, well, measure 2 pounds, right? So I measure a pound, 2 pounds of candy, boom, the kid takes the candy, that's it. Me and my lady self keep watching Netflix, just keep doing this, right? And now I'm solving a problem with computer. So all what I'm doing here is pretty much trying to break things down to see how artificial intelligence, machine learning, and cloud computing is making our lives easier. Another example is Nest thermostats. So my whole house is like tech savvy, like everything. Once again, that's something I get in trouble for, because that's why I spend my money, because I'm so interested in these things. So I have the Nest thermostats, and now this is a perfect example of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Why do I say that? The Nest thermostat gets all your data, right? But now it's getting your output, right? The Nest thermostat is not this, it's this. It's its own computer. So now it's getting the output. How's it getting the output? I'm telling the Nest thermostat that anytime I'm home, I want to change the temperature. Now that it's hot. Anytime I get home, oh, maybe 72 degrees, right? So I go, switch it. Right now I'm doing this, I'm training it. Over time, probably over 2 weeks, I do this every single day. Now it calculates everything and learns. Whenever Joe is home, how does it know I'm home? These then in your house have sensors. So the moment you walk in with your phone, it's connected to your phone. It sees, boom, Joe is home, right? So now it sees that, it's like, what does Joe do every day when he comes home? He touches this at 72. So now when I come home, and this happens all the time, when I go home, and the moment I walk across this, I don't touch it anymore. It moves 72. I'm saving money because when I'm away, it's not blowing cold air because there's no one home, right? But whenever I come home, it's like, you like this place cold, 72. I have the same thing upstairs. 10 o'clock, I have this habit. So at 10 o'clock, I go upstairs, I turn it down, have a little talk, and come back downstairs and work. It learned that over a period of a week. It saw me doing that at 10 o'clock every single time. He likes to sleep when it's a little bit cooler. Maybe at night, 4 o'clock, we're gonna go back to 78 because he's already cool, he's already sleeping, the temperature has dropped. So guess what, it's picked it up. I did that for a week. Now, when I go back to my room upstairs, around 10 o'clock, boom, it's at 72. It's getting ready for me to go to bed. After I go to bed, around 4 o'clock, it goes back to 78 because it's like, okay, it's cool enough, the temperature's dropping outside, we don't need that, we need saving money. Right? So that's what machine learning is doing in our world. And there's so many opportunities. And this is where we got in trouble. Not really in trouble, we had a big argument. We went to Walmart, and then she was really sad. She really cares about people. I do too, not I don't. But she gets so sad because, there were 2 cashiers out there, and then there's a self-checkout. I'm like, baby, well, let's go to self-checkout. She's like, no, I want to save their jobs. You're not gonna save anyone. Who are you? You're not Superman. No, she thinks I'm crazy because I'm on tech all the time. But I'm like, baby, you're not. She's like, no, I want to save. I'm like, baby, that's a long line. I want to save my legs. I want to be fine. I want to go home. So as we were walking, she was so sad. She kept looking back, and she's like, why are you guys taking jobs away? I'm like, who? Are you blaming Microsoft for this? We are not. So she was really, and to be honest, that is what people think. The more technology takes over, people think that people will lose jobs. And I told them, like, baby, listen, self-checkout. We have all these monitors, we go out, right? Guess what is happening? Now, people can actually reinvent themselves and get new jobs. Because now, yes, maybe there's 1 person to 10 machines, great. But do you know what is happening behind the scenes? Walmart is training people to fix those machines. Those who are earning more money than probably people online, right, as cashiers. Because now Walmart has to train people who understand those machines. So if, let's say you're a cashier, right, you know how things work. Walmart will say, I need somebody who has a cashier experience, who knows how to check people out, to help us develop this machine. They don't need to be the techie, they need to show the techies how to do it. Usually techies are techies and you have business people. So usually once you have that perfect blend, it works out. Now we need people to move from the cashier line to help develop these machines, right? So now different jobs are being created as other jobs are going away. In the tech industry, if you are not innovative, you're gonna die off. If you're not learning, you're gonna die off. Every single night, I am reading. I am learning. I am actually trying to read that myself. AI and machine learning, it's not new, but it's creating a buzz right in the industry. So me, as a program manager with the company Microsoft, if this is where the future is going, why wouldn't I do the same? And the same goes for you all in this room. You know, this is something you can get all the information online. You don't have to be, when I first joined, Microsoft hired somebody from college, they were strictly in biology. They did not do anything in computer science class. They were interested in biology, but they found later on that they are passionate about technology. So they started studying on their own. They interviewed, and this person passed because of their passion. Wherever you are, you can actually pick up some subsets of technology to start doing your job. And I believe that you probably get a promotion or earn more money and later on buy a house. So that's it. Any questions?
Where you said technology goes in terms of like the kids in here, where should they focus on? We mentioned these two areas, but where are other areas in technology that you focus?
Perfect. So these areas and also security. So you have all this data going to the cloud. How is it going to be secure? Companies are really worried about that. With my former job at Microsoft as a technical account manager, when I talk to companies and try to convince them to go to the cloud because it's best for them, right? One thing I did not think about, and a customer, I think it was CEO, he was like, Joe, we've now moved to the cloud because of security. How are you guys going to help us with security? And that's something I did not think about. And I told him, I was usually blankly honest. That's why I'm not in sales. Because I told him, I was like, yeah, I haven't thought about that. I need to go look into that. So security is actually one area that, as all these things are happening, what are we going to do? Another course I'm trying to take online is ethics in artificial intelligence. And there's going to be a lot of jobs in that area in the future, ethics in IT. The reason why I say that is because we talk about artificial intelligence. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, is really worried that we're going to have robots taking over the world. Because guess what is going to happen? As they get smarter and smarter, what is going to happen is that now they're creating programs which are actually smarter than human beings. They can outsmart human beings. And that's a scary part. So now what government officials are trying to do is, how do we get people who understand ethics and technology to help us so these things don't happen? I know at some point Google created something and they had to shut it down because the robot was getting too smart, more than the human beings. And if they continue to do this, we feed them with data, we show them what we like, they get way smarter, we have a problem. I'm not saying they should not get smart. They should get smart to the point they help us do our jobs. But we should not do it in a way that we don't have ethics. What is right and the wrong thing to do? I was talking to her, Zarel, we were talking earlier, and she's saying that they had a debate in their school about, self-driving cars. And she said she voted no. I'm like, why? Because she said, well, it's a machine. It can go off the rails and kill somebody, right? Which is true, and I was trying to explain to her how those things work. And it's all machine learning, artificial intelligence. It's all put a sensor in front of the car. If the car gets here, tell the car to stop. It's all code, right? And it's all sensors. But at the same time, we need to be very careful that we don't push it too far, right? Because machines are not human beings, right? What if a machine sees a dog and it's not trained to see a dog? It's going to run over the dog. So security, ethics, and IT are paths that you can take. And like I said, I'm taking a class on ethics myself very soon.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I want to introduce Peter Antoinette. He's coming all the way from Atlanta Tech Village in Buckhead area. And I want to value his time because he has a longer presentation. His presentation will take, maybe an hour, so I wanted to give him a chance to start early. And so we want to thank you for coming. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, yes, my name is Peter, and actually, let me clarify something. I don't really have a presentation. I have a very, very little one, and I hope that we're going to spend probably about 10% of our time on this presentation. And actually, what I have come with, and what I'm inviting you to experience is actually an exercise. Actually, for you to be the main actors of what's going to be happening. I think I'm going to be helping you, but I'm suggesting that you take action and try something that you may have not yet tried. It's kind of an experiment.
So the other emotion is boredom or indifference or tiredness or thought. Because when we feel that we rationalize or bored with something like that, we're kind of exhausted by that. Any kind of emotion in that moment when we feel kind of broken to the other person. The third one is what we call formal analysis or is superiority or self-assurance. In fact, when we purposely demonstrate that we're very confident, that we're very strong, and we try to challenge that person. That we show how smart and confident and how great we fight we are. And that kind of, it goes into that one. Or sometimes paper, we kind of play a bully that person, showing that, yeah, I can play with you, I'm trying to play with you, I'm ready to take you on, and if I have to do it, I'm not worried about that. This kind of attitude. And the fifth group is when we show that person success, when we interested in them, when we are happy with them. So those are when the emotions where we genuinely care about that person and make them feel that. We really recognize what's going on with them, or we don't really care about what other person is trying to say to them, that we really want to help the person company. That's where we emotionally let that person know that we are there for them, that we're hopeful, brothers, sisters, when we show that sense of brotherhood, that promotes unity. So that's the first group. And all of that, we can relate to our people, not necessarily with words, but in how we say it. So in terms of the exercise, what we usually do, we take one phrase and we go through the world. And the phrase is different. It doesn't have any particular emotional meaning in it. But when we say differently, then we can focus on the emotional part and then we can see how it was, how we attack a whole layer of meaning to what we say just without this. Is what it has sometimes some level of energy we just consider. We're not doing this. No, this is going to stay. That's it. No more than that. It's not like, oh, I know people say we have one story time to do. It's 26. So let me demonstrate and say that we're going forward so we can really see what's happening. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a phrase, and then I'm going to go down that list. And that's the first part of the exercise where you focus on the emotion and you try to feel the difference. And if you don't feel the difference, sometimes it's perfectly okay. Just remember which one he's close to you when you go into it and I'll make sure that you understand that difference. Alright, so any kind of neutral phrase, usually we take something like, this work needs to be done. This. Remember, how is it? This is certain all the time. So, the first point, focus on the emotion, without it, and different, and then you tell me which one you can pick up the difference, which one you say on to. This work needs to be done. So, it's not complicated pay attention, we still focus on the logic of what we say, I mean, the logic of what the other people say, and so like we do it there, that we have, when we make it in a system, we don't even notice how it's happening. So all the time we read that in the logic area, we don't pay attention to how we sound and how other people sound, and we ignore those markers. And really, I mean, can you imagine what a different state a person sees, what a different state of mind, what a different state of understanding what's going on between, say, this work needs to be done, and this work needs to be done, or this work needs to be done. And it's a whole different context, you know, and that
Or, I don't know, the tiger is closing his eyes and rubbing his head, and that's, you know, a friendly gesture, for example. Things like that. So in a pack, animals used emotions to understand what was going on and to relate and survive in a pack. The last part is what they call neocortex. So neo stands for new. So that's the newest part of the brain, and comparing to these one, you see it's very fresh. And that is actually what they say what made us human, the ability to reason, the ability to project, to predict, to deduct, to plan, to interpret what's going on. So that part of the brain is what made us very smart. You know, it's not about just survival anymore. Now we can be very smart about how we do things individually or in a group. So the reason why I'm showing you this is because we intuitively think that when it comes to interacting with other people, it's all about neocortex. We think it's about the logic of what we do, the words we say, the arguments we present, which is something many salespeople make that mistake. They think that they can sell through logic, through making smart arguments. But the interesting thing that neurobiology discovered now is that decisions are not made in neocortex. Decisions are made by the limbic brain. So the logical brain only explains why we make certain decisions, but it doesn't make decisions. Decisions are made emotionally. So that's why one of the reasons why studying emotions and emotional intelligence became very, very important when it comes to leadership, and when it comes to sales, and when it comes to negotiation, because that's where people make decisions. And depending on what emotion they feel, a decision can be different. So there's one more thing to consider, right? Just for us to understand the importance of the emotional part of the brain. These are the number of neurons in those brains. And you can see that in the limbic brain, there's literally, most of the neurons are actually located in the limbic brain. 70 billion, only 15 in neocortex, and only 1 billion in the reptile brain. And there's one more piece of data. To compare the speed with which the brain parts work. The logical brain works at the speed of 40 bits per second, so only 40 bits of information per second can go through our logical brain. It's very slow, compared to the limbic brain that goes at 11 million bits per second. So just compare, it's like the speed of a jet to the speed of light. That's the kind of difference. So what does it mean for us in terms of interacting with other people? That people make impressions and people make decisions usually way before their logical brain catches up to it. So because it's so fast, it's crucial that when we deal with other people, we pay attention to that emotional channel which transfers information with incredible speeds versus the logical brain, which is kind of slow and sort of lagging behind the emotion. So all of this is just to underline the fact that when we deal with other people, emotions are crucial, and being able to recognize emotions and being able to manage them is going to bring you a long way when it comes to impacting other people's decisions. So, what I suggest to you today is actually, the presentation is pretty much over at this point. If you're interested in learning about emotional intelligence, you don't need me for that. You can go online, there's heaps of information, articles. Some are very easy to understand, some are very complex. I mean, whatever information you want, you can find on that. So what I suggest we do is a practical exercise where I'm going to give you some cues, and we're going to explore how emotions impact our inner condition and how we impact others for particular types of emotions. So, would you be curious to explore that and kind of play around with it? It's just an experiment. And basically, I suggest that we dedicate the rest of the time to that, because that's where you can gain the most value from experience. Talking about emotion is not going to do anything. Experiencing emotion, that's what can really give us some understanding. You're up to it? Yeah. All right. So then let's reorganize the space a little bit so it's easier for you guys to work. So what I suggest we do is move the tables to that end of the class. And I'm going to be standing here, and we put the chairs in kind of a semicircle like this, because it's very important for you to be able to see each other. Because when you're seeing each other's backs, it's not really going to work for you very well. So it's going to probably take us a couple minutes to do it. Is that okay? Say that actually there's so many different types of intelligence. So can you start the presentation now? So this is a picture I found online where it just gives a very nice representation of what they mean by that. Like, we generally think that intelligence is logical, mathematical, making hypotheses, proving them, qualifying, and stuff like that. But you see, there's so much more. There is such a thing as musical intelligence, for example, and we can understand that because some people are more talented in music than other people. Some people hear notes better. Some people compose better. That's actually a type of intelligence. There's also such a thing as spatial intelligence. Some people are better at understanding environments than other people. So there's so many directions where we can have talent or where we can develop our skills to get better adapted to the world around us. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's actually not just one thing, but it's actually two things out of this spectrum. So do you have like a clicker? Okay, all right.
They were just in the other room, and I don't think it's.
All right, that's fine. If you can help me, it's going to work. So when we're talking about emotional intelligence, we're talking about this: intrapersonal and interpersonal. Here, it's about understanding yourself and your emotions, what you feel. Maybe even understand why you feel it. And interpersonal, it's the ability to sense other people's emotions. And why do you think those are interconnected? Why do you think in emotional intelligence they deal with both parts, understanding yourself and understanding other people? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that many times you understanding yourself translates into understanding others, as well as if you don't know yourself, it's kind of difficult for you to maybe go and give an assessment of someone else.
Yeah, because if you think about it, emotions is something we can only experience. We talk about emotions doesn't help very much, which is why we're not going to really be doing a lot of talking today. So if you don't have that experience, or you're not conscious of having this experience, it's very hard to relate to another human being having that particular experience in that particular time. So they are very connected, because the better understanding we gain of our own emotions, the better we are at identifying those emotions in other people. And then it gets so much easier for us to understand what's happening, and then in a negotiation, in a sale, in any kind of situation where when you are dealing with another person making a decision, it's going to get a lot easier for you to understand what's going on and how exactly you can impact the situation if you when you identify it. So there's one more thing I'm going to talk about in terms of emotional intelligence. Is the neurobiology. So can you please start? All right. So this is human brain, and it consists of three major parts. That, I mean, it's all, of course, they're all interconnected, but there are major different parts of the brain that we're going to consider a little bit. So the brain stem, or they call the reptile brain, is the most ancient brain that's designed for our survival. So this brain is all about protecting the body, all about regulating the body and surviving. Detecting the threat and dealing with the threat. So it's just pure survival brain.
Once you get it out, everything's going to go. That's that decision, and it's coming back. So I learned all these things last year. Actually, I had a plan to do about how they taught me that years ago, and now I thought about that. So I still know that. I'm just thinking when I was running, right? Getting the down payment, plus the tax and all that stuff. So that's a good question as well. But I don't know that. You know, what's the election on it? So quickly, I know I want to talk about something at the time. But right now, there's a lot of things going on. Talk about last week, we really talked about how they can tell it. We are all really very, very, very confused. And to be honest, there's people in the past who live on a planet. Because the technology will happen. You have very smart people who are doing this every single day, and then they do stuff, and it's like, what does this mean to your everyday person? And then you look at you, well, how do you know how to explain it? And things are a lot. Sometimes even us on Microsoft is like, okay, we know AI, we know cloud, computing. What does that mean? Yeah, we go to the customers and explain to them. How do you break it down? So usually I spend a lot of my time researching on my own. And that's something that I encourage everyone listening to do, because there's a lot of stuff online that you can learn. And my goal, every single time that we use a product, is to learn it and break it down. Break it down for everybody to understand, even my mom to understand as well. So that's what I try to do. I'm passionate about that. That's one thing that is a commander and things that is, I work with all these developers, all these CIOs, CTOs, and different companies, and usually I can also try to talk to them and support it before we got to that. Because in that industry, you're going to have, in any industry at all, healthcare, you're going to have the tech people, you're going to have the operation people. The operation people and the CEO and the health industry, and I know that. But if I go try to sell them technology, it's really trying to sell them. But sometimes you have money, right? So, what's that about computing? What's that about artificial intelligence? It's big now, right? And I'm going to read this one again. So pretty much, cloud computing is the information by the cloud computing network and web service, hosted on the internet to store, manage, process data, rather than having something local. What does that mean? First, in my phone, I can open my email client, Outlook, Yahoo, Gmail, right here, and I can access my email. Right? That is cloud computing. Why is that? Because I don't need to have a server in my house to go to my email. I don't need that. Because someone has stored a company, let's say it's Microsoft, right? They store it on all these servers, and after Outlook client on there, all I need to do is open it, I'll go to Outlook.com, and I can easily access my email. So how did this come about? So for instance, back in the day, the data map, you have to go. Let's say you work for a company, making shoes, right? And you're a developer, and you're a project, but you're a hack, right? Customers can buy shoes, right? So companies back in the day will have a big room full of service, right? They'll also get a big probably a room this size. Full of service, but probably 5 developers. Create an app, one app. They spend a lot of money on maintenance, right? Someone else in the maintenance room, they have to spend a lot of money on technology, the hardware. So it was really cost effective, really expensive. So now companies are much more about, you know what? Isn't that something great? If I'm a developer, or if I own that company, and let's have a business to make it, guess what? I'm like, I'm doing that. Because now I don't have to spend money on a room, and sometimes they have under service, but they don't need all their service. Because they need backup service, you get something failed, they have failed requests or whatever, they need backups. So they have 27, but in other doing two. So when you go for 20, then you can see go like half, one half. So what about you do? What's another thing? You're going to as a user, because you have to come online and look at the flood. So let's say you're a user, I can just open my phone, oh, here go back, see, and I save money, and the money can go somewhere else. You can save property, you can take away that. Well, how good is that, right? You guys like, so let's say I'm the one maintaining the room, right? Someone would say, well, my job is gone. But I'll explain that later, because I was 2 years ago with my wife on this. And she's tech, but business at the same time. And she was running business on account. And I will explain something to you every time. So read my level of product you talk about. Before, I'm a game. So before I used to go to game shop, and I'll buy these games, like I'll play them for hours. This is getting me angry too big. This is getting me mad, like hours. But now I don't usually do that. Because of problem even, not just someone's like, we have an Xbox, we have a good server. How about we have to look at building the software in the cloud? And people can just download it. Now they can just pay for it online and then just download your system. That's what cloud is really doing. You go to the cloud, I can play my friends online. They can do their home, I can do my house, and it can be great. One time I was like, shit, I got a bucket. You know, I'm offline. You got to explain it to a friend. Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm playing with games. Why are you angry? Things not good. Obviously, things not good. I'm not lying to you. And she's like, wait, so what are you doing? It's funny to see how it's for the whole concept there. She's still in that day. But she's let it go. So that's what talking is all about. There's so many aspects of talking to me. I don't know if it. I only do for like 2 years, but really you're working for the rest of your life. Once in a while, you're going to leave the office and go for training, like a week training, 2 weeks training in Seattle. You learn about, pretty much classes that MBA students actually get right now. So I've been here. After the 2 years, you get kicked out of the program. Not really, but it's like you ushered out. It's like now you're on your own. So I've enjoyed that as well. And there's so many opportunities. So if you're interested in technology, there's so many roles. I'm going to talk about all of that later on. There's so many roles. But one thing I would say is, Dr. Elaine, this is really good. I might get this when I was in high school.
It could dip your score down low. And then once you get in your house and you have mortgage to your credit score, that's awesome for your credit. The mortgage is really strong history on your credit score, so that's a good thing. So I would say, we usually recommend, especially if you're talking to us, because we know you're driving to our house, I would say don't close those cards. But if you had nothing going on in the next 12 months, I would say yes.
Is there a way that you can sort of condense the cards that you won't be getting rid, that it won't dip your credit score, but you'll have less kind of cards or?
I'll tell you, it's funny that you mentioned condense that word. I have a buyer I'm working with right now that 5 months ago went and got one card to pay off all his other cards and condensed everything together. And his score dropped 100 points.
Wow.
So that was a huge dip in score, which then your credit score reflects in what interest rate you're going to pay. And if you're not putting in 20% down payment, you're going to have something called mortgage insurance. We'll talk about that a little bit. And that affects that rate as well. So credit's so important. So that'll be the second thing I say today is remember. Yes.
As they graduate, when they start to get these cards and all that in the mail, and they may need to want to turn out.
Yeah, that's a great idea. As you start graduating from school, and I remember even when my kids were in school, it's like, oh, I get a free Frisbee, or I get a free this, should I sign up for that card? Thank God they call and ask me first, because I used to say, absolutely not, you already have two. I don't care what free item they're giving you. Just remember that. And that's a good point to make as well, as far as the number of cards that you probably really don't need 7 or 8 cards, probably 2 or 3 are a good deal. So yeah, watch all of those things you get in the mail as far as offering you credit cards, especially when you're just getting started, you don't have to go. And it's good to use those couple cards and pay them off, and you don't max them out, and that's gonna develop your credit history. Yes, yeah, that's right, pay, yeah, even though I don't do that part of it as far as the interest rate on the cards is important as well too, so, and then, you know, I guess something else I used to tell my own too, when they were purchasing something, it was like, okay, you're not gonna pay it off for 6 months, look at how much interest you're paying on that thing, so how much are you really paying for that one thing, you really needed that back. It always kind of made them think about it, changing it on a little bit, so, that's true. Any other questions about credit, or? As far as your income is concerned, when it comes to getting a mortgage, you know, you might be on a brand new job, and different types of income, and what I mean are salary. Are you on a salary position where you're making X amount of dollars per year? Are you being paid hourly? Or is a big part of your income commission and bonus? So if you are, and then another, you know, if somebody was self-employed, meaning they started their own business, or maybe you're doing contract work for somebody, you're almost considered self-employed if you're doing contract work for somebody. So when someone's self-employed or a contractor, or a big part of your income is commissions and or bonus, you almost have to have a 2-year history, or very close to it, to be able to get a mortgage, because we're gonna want a 2-year history on that. If you're salaried, you know, you could be just out of school and you start a brand new job, and as long as you have first paycheck and receive that salary, you could get a job. We look at a 2-year history on your job, but you could show you were in school for 2 years, and then you could show you got a brand new job at Microsft or wherever you're working. So, but that is, I just kind of wanted to mention that because, you know, the commissions, the self-employed, the contracts, see a lot of contract jobs come up, and you do need to see the history on that. Another thing, next item I'm going to talk about is money, which is down payment money. You also have closing costs to obtain that loan when you're purchasing a house, and you have escrows. Escrows means you got to pay a certain amount of property taxes, you got to pay insurance on that brand new house you're buying. All this goes into upfront costs that you need at closing. So, where can the money come from? Well, you might have some money in savings. You might have a bonus coming in and you want to use that for down payment money, or you might have, you know, a gift from a relative or a family member or something like that. All those sources of funds are acceptable for down payment money. So all of that's good. So, let's talk about mortgage insurance. You know, sometimes, you know, the old adage a few years ago was that, oh, you have to have 20% down to buy a house. And that's not been like that for quite a few years. We do, and especially the first-time homebuyers that I've been working with, we do a lot of 3% down financing on conventional loans. FHA actually offers 3.5% down. So if your credit score is good and you meet the requirements, it's almost better to look at the conventional because it's a little bit less down money. So, so you don't have to have 20% down payment. Now, there's something out there called PMI, MI, mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance. It's all the same thing. What it is that insurance, it becomes part of your monthly payment. It basically protects me, the lender, that if you were to default on your loan, they would pay the claim. So you can purchase a home before you have 20% down payment, but you might have a small portion of private mortgage insurance included in your payment. Another thing about the total monthly payment is you're going to pay back principal and interest on the amount that you borrowed from me or the bank or whichever lender you work with. You're also going to pay a portion of your property taxes in that payment. You're going to pay a portion of your homeowner's insurance. And if you didn't put 20% down, you might have the PMI too. So all those 4 things total together to make a monthly payment. So, any other questions about any of those Yes.
What degree did you have to get?
Oh, the others, okay. I'm not gonna talk about the flyers yet, but, my name is Margie Cushell. I'm with North Point Bank here in, Alpharetta. We actually have 3 offices in Georgia. We're in Atlantic Station, Johns Creek, and Alpharetta. And, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about myself, how I got into the financial side of, working with mortgages and how, like Elaine and I would work together. And then I'm going to, well, because no one here yet has a home, but I'm not sure if you're thinking about that for somewhere down the road. I'm gonna talk to you like I talk to my own kids who are in that process now. So just some of the things you probably may not think about, but it'll prepare you for future, down the road when you're ready to purchase. So, my company is, we're out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we are a mortgage bank. We do not have brick and mortar banks where you would walk in with your savings or put money in your checking and savings. We do have one location, one bank in Michigan, but the rest of our offices are all mortgage banks, so we specialize in residential loans. We lend in all 50 states, and we probably have offices in about 20 different states. So, anyway, I'm going to talk briefly of, you may not have heard these terms before, so if you have questions along the way, feel free to stop me, and then I'm going to move on to like the following part. But the main types of mortgages that people will consider when they want to buy a home, you may have heard the term conventional loans. You probably definitely heard FHA and VA. We also have portfolio products, and what that means is the bank makes a special type of loan product and we keep it in-house. So we might have certain special guidelines for those types of things. We also do a lot of construction loans, and we do a lot of rehab. In our area, all over Metro Atlanta, there's lots of houses that maybe they might be 30, 40 years old, and people are going in and buying those homes. And just like you watch on HGTV, everybody wants to go in and be a fixer-upper, and maybe they need to do some work on the home, so that's like a rehab type loan. So, and we do those types of things too. Not all companies will do that. Some might just do your conventional FHA. We have a whole construction array of things we do as well. And just to briefly talk about mortgage companies, I'm more of a boutique type bank because we just specialize in residential loans. We all hear of Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those are your big commercial banks. They also do loans, a little bit different than probably how we do loans. We probably have a little bit more one-on-one type service with what we do. Some of your large banks, you might do an online loan application. It might go to somewhere in North Carolina to be processed, and you might not ever meet the loan officer. Whereas, myself and the other person on some of the flyers with me, Marissa, it's actually my daughter who works with me, we meet face to face with a lot of people, and sometimes up front, because we also work with a ton of first-time home buyers, we'll sit down and go over all the closing costs and the escrows and what your options might be to purchase that home. We go to all our closings, so when you go to the final meeting where you actually get handed the keys, we also go to things like that. In today's market, there's a lot of online, you all have heard of Rocket and Quicken and all those kind of things. I can give you feedback from agents I work with that, pros and cons to all types of lenders, but that one con would be that you never really meet a person, and you may never talk to the same person twice. So we like the one-on-one service. We like, that we're local and, that we can work with you this way. So anyway, that's the types of loans we do. I think the main thing I just want to cover today is I want to talk to you about preparing for if you're considering somewhere down the road that you might want to buy your first home. So there's probably lots of things that you may not even think about today, but the main things that we'll talk about is we're going to talk about credit, we're going to talk about income and your job, and then we're going to talk about money and down payment. So those 3 things kind of all come together to pre-approve you for a home. I'm a huge, huge believer of getting your credit approved up you today, please let them be it. And in today's market, and Elaine will tell you later that it's a very competitive market. Inventory is very low, so when a good home comes on the market, there are some times, and I know it sounds like a crazy number, but 15 plus offers on one property. So if you get your everything in order and you're pre-approved for that loan, and depending on how strong you can make that offer, you're gonna put yourself in a much better position to be able to possibly win that property. So, you know, not sure what the market will be like in a year. Wasn't exactly like that 5 years ago, but in today's market, it's still like that. And inventory continues to be low. And you probably will agree with me on that one. Let's talk about credit. Has anybody ever heard of FICO scores? Anybody ever heard that term? Any of you guys? Oh, yeah, okay. FICO scores, it's a module that credit reports for mortgage companies are much different than if you go to buy a car, if you go to get a credit card. They might only look at what we call one repository. A repository is, you all hear Equifax, you hear TransUnion, you hear Experian. Those are the three main repositories. So when you have a credit card and you make those monthly payments, that credit card company, call it Citibank or someone, Citibank will report to the bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, how you make your monthly payments. So there's a constant monitoring every month. They report every month how you make your payments. So if for some reason someone's late on a payment 1 month, ding, that goes to your credit report. So you may not be thinking about it today, if any of you have maybe a credit card for school or just to use for gas or, you know, food, anything that. But what you're doing today, you're developing your payment history for a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road. It will always stay with you. So it's real important to pay attention, you know, to your credit score. Credit scores range from, you know, 300 to 850. I don't think I've ever seen anything as low as even 300 or 400, but an 850